right, thank you guys for joining us with Women of Integrity. So I hope you guys enjoyed the last show where we talked about what is a woman of integrity. Today we are discussing what women want men to know. So a lot of times we are labeled as being women who is indecisive, don't really know what we want. So today we're going to let you know exactly what we want. So we're going to start out with a big question. So one of our big questions that we always hear, I know a lot of you men say, why do women say they want a good guy, and then when a good guy come along, they play them? Mm-hmm. So what do you have to say about that question?
You want to start? You have something to say?
I mean, I think that if you can be the nicest person in the world, but if you aren't the right person for me, then you just aren't that person. And so I don't think that you should get upset or feel any kind of way about it. You know, be thankful that you didn't get with me for life and you not be the right person. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So, yeah, I think that you should just take it in strides and, you know, just take it as an opportunity to thank God that you didn't end up with me. You know, you got the right person. Yeah.
Right. Exactly. I think too, okay, so I'll be honest, I think there is some truth in that statement. I think there are certain women who they have kind of sort of like this expectation for what they want in a man, and if a guy come along and it's not picture perfect, then they might discredit him even though he's a good guy. However, I do tread lightly because on the flip side of that, I think there are a lot of guys who feel as though just because they are quote unquote nice, that's the standard, that should be enough for me to accept that, oh, okay, well, because you're nice. That's great, right? But do I vibe with you? Or, you know, what are your morals? Where do you gain your principles from? How do you, I don't know, how do you respond to certain situations? How do you provide? You know, so there's so much more than just being nice. Yeah, you may not be the obvious bad guy, right? But I think there's these different variations of being a nice guy. So, like I said, I definitely see both sides of that. I've most certainly seen women who would be like, oh, you know, I want a nice guy, but a nice guy to them will be someone who's rich and cute and everything but nice, right? So she wasn't really looking for a nice guy anyway. But then, like I said, I mean, if you come along to me and just because you're nice, that's fine. I'm a nice girl too, but guess what? Like you were saying, I might not fit for every guy just because I'm a nice girl. I think there's just a little bit more to it. But like you said, you know, don't take it personal. But understand that, you know, the one that's for you is going to see you for being nice and more than just that.
Yes. And I like what both of you guys said, because actually you kind of both sum it up in a nutshell, because you may want a woman who can cook. That might be a standard. I would like this woman to know how to cook. However, if her only quality is cooking, so it's like she can't do nothing else but cook, you're like, okay. So it's like, yeah, we want a nice guy, but we want a nice guy who also has standards. A nice guy who also knows how to lead. A nice guy who also has other qualities. So we're not asking you to be Mr. Perfect, Mr. Nice Guy, and perfect in all your ways, because that's Christ, right? So it's like we want to know that this is the person that God has for us. And if God says that's not it, you can be a nice guy, but you're a nice guy for someone else. So like you said, like kind of be happy that you lucked up and I said no, because I wasn't supposed to be your wife in the first place.
And how are you defining nice? Like, are you just nice because you don't beat me?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like what does that really even mean? Like, oh, because I'm a nice guy. Because you have a decent career, so now you're a nice guy. Like, how are we defining you being a nice guy or you being a good guy for me?
Yes.
There was a time where I did date someone and he was nice, but eventually he was just nice to other people. You know, and he had a good career and he still does. And on the outside, yeah, he's a nice guy, you know. But when it came relationship-wise, it was like kind of different. So again, I just challenged too, just like how are we really defining a nice guy?
Right. True, because that's what it is. It's like just because someone's nice doesn't mean that they're going to be nice to you. You know,
it's nice for you.
Right. So question, why does women tend to always say they want a nice guy, but kind of when this quote unquote nice guy, however you define nice, come along and we say, oh no, that's not it. It's not because you're nice and we don't know what we want. It's because sometimes we want a nice guy, but we also want a guy who God created for us. So, and you'll have that connection. So it's not like, you gotta pray and do a cartwheel and shout and jump on the stage and hop off and do a flip to figure out if this is your guy. But sometimes it's like you want to have chemistry. You want to build a connection. And just because he's nice and you don't have a connection, you're like, let me settle, because that's still settling. Like, I'm going to settle because he's nice.
Right.
So you don't want a woman who's willing to settle just because you're nice. Because if one day you done flip, now she's like, oh, there's nothing else I even like him for. Like, I only liked him because he was nice. So it's like you want a woman who loves you for you.
So it's like that balance between being a nice guy versus being a good guy.
Yes. Yes.
Can I ask her? Because she's married, so I just wanted to know, like, for you, how did you identify your husband as a good guy?
So lots of prayer, honestly. So before I met my husband, I dated people before and was, really in a space where I was ready to find the one. And so my mom, I'll never forget, she told me, she said, Shalise, pray every day, God, I thank you for my husband who loves God and who treats me like a queen. And those were the two things. I didn't pray for him to be 6 feet with nice hair, nice teeth, and a decent job. None of that. I was like, okay, Lord, love you, treat me like a queen. And that's what I got. And so when I met him, I wasn't sure at first, if he was the one, but I was like, okay, I've been praying, so maybe, this might go somewhere. And spending time with him, communicating with him, learning who he was, I clearly saw, okay, he loves God. He's a cool person. We click, we vibe. He's treating me like a queen. He treats me very well. And so ultimately it was just, knowing that God had sent this person for me.
Right.
So, yeah, that's what it was.
So that's what we look for, y'all.
Those two things, if you can just get those two things down.
Yes, yes. So the next question is, what is the first thing you notice about a guy? I notice, this is going to sound real deep, y'all, but it's so serious. I notice if this guy loves God. So I specifically ask certain questions. So if he's not in church and I didn't see him at like a church meet, I ask little questions to see if he will give a Christ-like answer. So it's not deep. So I'm not like, do you love the Lord? But I would maybe subtly say, today is so nice. Like, I'm like, thank you, God. And if he says, yes, I do thank God, I'm just like, step one. At least he believes in God. Now, I'm not saying he's this, creme de la creme. However, I'm like, at least he acknowledged God. So the first thing I always pay attention to, no matter what it is, I always, and it's like, it's second nature. I don't do it because I'm trying or something told me like to go see if they love God. It's just like, because it means so much to me. Because it's like, if someone that has, I don't know, a nice smile means so much to you, you're going to try by any means necessary to see what their smile looks like. And it's like, because knowing that they have a relationship with God is so key. And it's like, it's a deal breaker. I see that first. So that's what I noticed first.
I know for me, I just kind of sort of look for the way he carried himself. I pay attention to people's demeanor. It's kind of hard to describe, but just like in situations, like say if you're like in a social situation, like is he pressed to be in like everyone's face versus is he just friendly? Is he stuck up and feel like everybody should be in my face?
Right,
so
right,
just kind of things like that. Also, the way he carries himself, as far as like the way he interacts with different people. Is he, respecting people? Is he treating everyone, just with that same level of love. It's not like the standard of like, well, you're the little man, or
Right.
you're just, you know, are you kind, or you holding doors. So just
Right.
kind of sort of just like his demeanor and the way he carried himself. I think that says a lot about his personality and his character. And if that's someone who, honestly, I want to be in his presence or not. So I just kind of sort of like look for that.
Right, I'm going to add that to mine too. Because I look at that too. It's kind of like both, 2 in 1, 2 for my 1. I'm like, yes. Because you can love God and be super stuck up, and you be like,
Right.
never mind. Like, you tried it.
Trying too hard. I think for me, both of those things, and really like their confidence.
Yes.
So, or what I would call their Godfidence. So, you know, not being kind of stuck in themselves,
Right.
but understanding that God plays a critical role as well. But really just how you carry yourself, you know, like, are you strong? Are you manly? Are you going for what you want to go for? And so if it's, you know, me dating somebody, like, are you persistent to try to get me?
Right,
You know?
right.
And so really just confidence is really important to me.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes. Yeah, so I'm adding yours to mine too.
All things alike.
Yeah.
Yes, and if you guys notice, because a lot of men think that we're so stuck on their looks. But if you notice, I mean, yes, we do want you to, we don't want to be grossed out when we see you. However, the first thing that attracted us is not your looks, it's your personality. It's kind of like your swag. Like,
Yes.
you know, so, it doesn't matter. It's not like, let me make sure the moment I stepped out, I'm going to be shaped up to the T, because if I'm not, she's not going to look, because you can be shaped up to the T, and if you don't have these 3 qualities, at least us 3, we ain't looking.
Right.
So,
And I'll add to that too. You know, even with my prayer, I was like, okay, God, you know the desires of my heart too. So I want somebody who is handsome, who I find attractive, who I feel like matches me as well.
Yes.
So somebody I look good with. So I was like, Lord, you know, I want these 2 things, but please, just, you know, look out for us.
yeah, be generous.
I'm not going to define to you, because I would have never
Right.
described my husband to you, you know.
Right.
But just trusting God and like literally, you know, Lord, you know
Yes.
me. So give me somebody who I
Yes.
will be happy with and satisfied with. And
Right.
so I mean, I think that's a real kind of prayer to have. Like, looks, they matter. They aren't everything. But I'm happy when I wake up every day and
That you're waking
see
up
this
to
fine specimen,
Yes.
right? You know.
So if you guys watch show 1, her husband was Braxton. He was the one in the kind of salmon sweater, and I believe you guys do blend well.
Right, yeah.
So it's not like your faces blend, like they match. So it's not like y'all look alike, but it's
Right.
like you guys make a great couple.
Yes.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So, another question, and I thought this one was hilarious, but if you can change one thing about a man, what would you change?
I don't know.
I would change their stubbornness. So, I know it's like their stubbornness kind of is like we're like, we want you to be confident, we want you to stand firm, but don't be so stubborn. Like, you know, be willing to compromise. So I would change their ability to be stubborn at times.
I think that I would change I think the way they respond to emotions. So women, we're very emotional creatures. I'm a very emotional person. And so sometimes it's hard for men to understand, like, why is she so emotional? Like, you know, man up, or, you know, just, can you communicate your emotions better? So I think that I would, if there was a switch or something, like, this is something that goes up in their brain,
Right.
like, this is truly just an emotional time for her, or this is just the way that she's processing this, and so this is how I'm going to respond to it, versus just not maybe understanding or not realizing that it's just how women maybe process things. And so I think that's a big challenge for a lot of guys, just to kind of learn how to better communicate with women when it comes to their emotions.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What about you?
I think I would change just the perception that we are so drastically different. And by no means am I one to advocate to say that women are the same as men in a sense of woman is a man or a man can do it. Like, no, I believe that there are, legit attributes that make a man and legit attributes that make a woman, whether physically or just personality-wise in her character. But just this understanding to see the beauty and the collaboration of the two versus seeing it as because you're so one way, I'm so another way, that we're just different, but more so seeing it as a puzzle piece, as like how can we make this work together?
Right. So, yeah. Next, what do you like about men? What is something that you would say, I love this about men, and I wouldn't want them to change? I'll go first. I love when a man is a man, if that makes sense.
Yes.
Like, I love when a man is like, at the end of the day, I'm the man, I'm taking on my role as a man. Something about a man wanting to be a man and like taking charge as a man, it's like, okay. So that goes back on question number one, like, what do you notice? Or what do you notice about men first? It's like noticing their ability to be a man. And it's like, so that's what I like about men. I don't want them to change that.
Yeah.
Nah, I agree with that. Definitely, like, them just being a man. I think even whenever this one sounds so deep, y'all. But even when you're like in the presence of like a manly man, you just feel it. I think there's this sense of like security, this sense of like warmth, this sense of like protection
Yes.
that I genuinely appreciate about men. There are times that I may be like, this situation may be harder than I can grasp, and as women, we figure it out. We do what we have to do, but to have a man be like, you don't even have to, even though we know you can.
Right.
You don't even have to. Like, I'm man
Right.
to take charge and get it done, and just like I said, just that protection and being like that provider. I appreciate that.
Yes.
I was definitely going to say the same thing. When you asked, I thought about, the most prominent men in my life. And so, first, obviously, my husband, but even before my husband, like, I thought about my dad, somebody who taught me what a man is and how a man should interact with a woman. Like, he taught me how to even look for my husband. And so, all these qualities just, imagine being a little girl running into his arms. And so being protected by him and just feeling the love and the comfort, the security that comes from him. And then so when I met my husband, I'm like, yeah, I love these things about men. Just like having that warmth, having that security, the big teddy bear type feel, but even the strong feel as well. And so I think those two things for sure, that security and that fuzziness that comes with it.
Because it's almost like we can handle it, we can get it done, but sometimes it just feels good to be like, I could do this. However, I had a man that got this. Like, and it's like, so, like, babe, just let me know when you need me to tag in. But it's like something that just makes you feel so comforting to be like, but you got this.
Right.
Like, you got this.
Yep.
So, when it comes to your husband, so I know, what makes you, what makes you say, you know what, God, this was legit the man that you had for me? Like, what makes you wake up in the morning, besides the fact that God was very generous whenever he gave you with his looks, but what makes you wake up in the morning and be like, you know what, God, you outdid yourself with this one?
How much time do we have? Man, that's a good question. I think like every day there are little things where I'm just like, thank you, Lord. Just him being there, marriage is a fun roller coaster, and I don't like roller coasters at all. And so kind of like not knowing what to expect and the ups and the downs of it, but having somebody who is very consistent and just super sweet to me, like all the time, is very I'm very thankful for.
Right.
I think just who he is, it makes it very easy for me to appreciate God for giving him to me. So it's not a stretch out of any, on anybody's part to be thankful for each other. I hope he would feel the same way. But to me, yes, it's easy, and I think that's really what makes the difference for me. So it's not like I'm struggling to love him or struggling to appreciate who he is or what he does. He makes it really easy for me to do that. And so that is, I think that's my answer on that. That's the short answer on it.
So, as a single woman,
I wasn't expecting a question.
Grab it.
when it, I know because I'm gonna have to grab mine when I answer, or I might just skip myself. I'm playing. So, when it comes to a guy, and it's like, what is it that you expect? What is it that you look for? What will make you be like, you know what, at the end of the day, no matter what other people say, no matter what trials may come, no matter what tribulations, this is worth it. This is who I'm going to choose.
I think, just even going back to even the heart of the show of just being a woman of integrity, right? And just being a woman of integrity is someone that I strive to continue to be, right? And with that man, I would hope that not only is he a man of valor, but that he also puts me in an environment that allows me to continue to grow and to continue to push me to be that woman of integrity. So, okay, how is all of that possible? Him simply just being as consistent as possible and really standing on the word of God. Like I need that. If I see okay, you know what, above all else, your love for God is consistent. The way you treat me is consistent, and your number one goal is to be the best man that God has called you to be, and support me in being the best, woman of God that I can be. Nothing else matters, right?
Yes.
Because now I'm set in a position where it's like, okay, I have a partner who's going to help me to strive beyond just the cares of the world. He's helping me strive for my salvation in eternity.
Yes.
Like that. To me, that's true love. Someone that, because I don't expect marriage to be easy. I don't expect for it to be, roses all the time. Is it nice? Absolutely. I'm sure, to have that partner, definitely something I want. However, I'm very aware of the fact that it can be trying. I'm very aware of the fact that it's going to be tested. So to have someone who's consistent and God will give me the confidence that I have a higher chance that you're at least going to be consistent in this thing.
Yes.
You know what I mean? And even in, a Christian marriage, nothing's guaranteed, right? But I know that the Word of God is guaranteed.
Yes.
So to have us both really just sitting on the foundation of the Word of God, I think that's something that will allow for me to be like, I don't care what nobody else got to say.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Like, this right here puts me in best position. And like you said, thank you, God, every day, because He loves you, and He showed His love for you through the way He loves me.
Yep,
Yes.
absolutely.
Yes.
Yep.
Yes. First, I have to answer that question. I tell everyone I have like 3 qualities. So it's like here's the standard, right? And even if you can't go down here, like you literally got to hit this standard. And the 3 is you must love God. You gotta go hard for God. Period. Hands down. You can't be a lukewarm Christian and be my head like you just can't.
Right.
The second thing is I'm a single mom, so I have children, and I would need you to be willing to not just accept the fact that I have children. Not say, I love her, so I guess.
Right.
It's like I need to know that this man loves my children just as much as he loves me. And lastly, this is going to sound hilarious. However, this is the standard that you cannot miss, which is you have to be funny. Like, if I was on the phone with you and I didn't laugh at least twice, you ain't it. I'm like, because if I laugh, even my friends, if we are upset with each other, but if they send the right meme, I forgot what you did. So it's like, if you can make me laugh, if you love my children just as much as you love me, and you love the Lord with all your heart, and you're allowing Him to direct your path, You it. You it. So, what I want us to do is I have a game for us. In this game, I know you guys are wondering, like, what is these white cardboard things they've been holding in their hands this whole time? Well, this game is called Date 'em or Diss 'em. So, I'm going to ask you guys a question. And after you got to tell me, will you date them or diss them? Okay? So, here's question number 1. If a man asks you out on a date, now he'll pay, however, he needs you to come pick him up. Date him or diss him.
I'm gonna go with date 'em.
I'm gonna go with this one.
Okay, so why did you say this?
Okay, well, I'm big on men being a provider
Oh,
and problem solving and making a way. And it wasn't the fact that he didn't have a vehicle, it was the fact that you didn't problem solve to find a way to still make sure I was picked up and that I didn't have to worry about it.
Because Uber is a
Because there's
thing
yeah,
now.
Uber. I didn't
You
think of that. I
know?
didn't think of that.
And then 2, I'm also conscious of like, okay, well, who's your network of friends? So none of your friends got cars? What y'all doing with y'all free time? I don't know. That's just me.
Yes,
That's just me. Sound like I don't know. So like I said, it wasn't.
Because who's your network of friends?
Right.
Real, like, yeah,
real.
no one lets you use the car for anything.
Right.
Because I understand things happen, right? I understand people are in different places in their life. So it's not, like I said, it's not even about you not having a ride. You know, your ride could even been in the shop. Some people might be in the comments like, well, what if it was in the shop? Okay, well, we can make it. But if you asking me out on a date, and we're not even at that level yet, where it's like they take my car,
Right.
you can still be showing me that you can provide and make a way. Make
Yeah.
something happen.
So,
So that's how I was this.
are you switching it to this too?
I mean,
Because I kind of switched.
I had date 'em at first. I think that it's, you know, in this day and age, people don't have cars all the time.
Right.
You know, it depends on where they are in their life. They might be saving up. It might be just a month before they about to get their car.
Right.
And we don't want to miss out on that blessing.
That's true.
Right, right.
That's
So,
true.
He could be the really nice guy who's down for everything, but he didn't problem solve. So-
Right. So that's what I'm telling you right now. I would date them too,
Right.
but it was like you didn't problem solve. Cause something about if you would have problem solved, like, hey, I'm gonna pick you up. Unfortunately, it'll be in an Uber. You'd be like, I'll pick you up. Like, you know what I'm saying? So it allows you to be like, oh, no problem, don't fret. But it's like,
Right.
can you pick us up? Like it was like, yeah.
And is he paying for my gas, though? You know.
That's so sad
To
because
get
we.
to the car. I don't know. I would
Right.
feel it. I would give him a chance because I'm a nice girl.
I'm like this.
Shayla more mean.
She did very well, y'all.
I'm lukewarm. I'm lukewarm.
That's funny.
Cause you know what? Here's the thing too. If he is a nice guy and you're kind of feeling like this is it, you're like him. But if he is just like
Yeah. If he
So,
got out here
It
grinding.
depends. It depends. I mean,
Right.
now granted, y'all, so don't be on the comments attacking me. We only got a snippet of the scenario, you know?
Right,
I
right,
don't know
right.
the full picture,
That's
right?
right.
Because if it's somebody
Right.
I'm really feeling, we all know that I might be over here like, girl.
right.
But based on the snippet, no.
Yeah.
Right. So the next question is, if a man says that he's a Christian, but he just goes out and drink occasionally, they don't work this on. Okay, so we got.
Halfway. Oh.
I thought it was this date lukewarm.
I was lukewarm. I was lukewarm at first.
Okay. All right. So why do you say date?
So I feel like we all have things that we can work on, you know? And for some people, going out drinking might be one thing. For somebody else, it might be shopping when you don't need to be shopping. Or doing something else. And so I think that drinking is definitely something that is common in our culture, unfortunately. But I think that it's something that people can certainly change over time. And so in this situation, I would just be very clear with the guy, like, you know, these are my thoughts on it. As a man of God, if this is who you're claiming to be, then this is the lifestyle that you need to live. And so, again, just being very clear, like these are my expectations, and then giving them time to adjust. And then if they don't adjust, if they persist, it's
Okay.
I said this because I don't know. Okay, so I was a little in the middle, just because I don't think going out and maybe like drinking wine here and there is a sin, right? But the Bible do speaks on being a sober man and drunkenness, and that I do hold the standard to. So with that being said, I do agree that sometimes people do have like their own different struggles and their battles. However, I don't want to put myself in position to, sorry, I'm like looking for my words, where I'm dating someone based on their potential, right? Because then I'm just like, okay, what if they never get better, or what if they never see this as a thing? Like, I don't want to date you in hopes that you're going to become this person that I've created you to be.
Right.
You know, so that, and then too, I know, just going back to the first episode where we talk about, you know, being a woman of integrity and this standard, and I said I was lukewarm at first because I was going to compromise a little bit, but I feel like that's also a common trend that women do, where we compromise on what we feel as though should be our standard. We feel bad for it. So I had a moment, like a transfer moment, where I was like, I'm like, no, I'm not compromising. No,
Yes.
sorry, y'all.
Yes.
no,
So,
don't apologize.
I put this because of the same reasons. Because I believe God's standard is to not go out and drink and turn up, because He says don't be drunk. Now, like I said, is it a sin to have a glass of wine with dinner? No. But the question was, do you go out and have drinks occasionally? And the only way, the reason why my number one standard before was to love God with all your heart and follow Him and allow Him to acknowledge Him in all your ways, was because if I know that I have a man that does that, then a lot of the things that you would typically worry about in relationships, yeah, you still need to, you know, be able to help him out. That's why the guy needs to help me, to be like, I need you to help you know that you don't need to be in her face. However, it's like you can kind of trust a little more, because you're like, at the end of the day, this man acknowledges God first. And if he's going out to drink occasionally and that's not God's standard, then clearly he's not acknowledging God in all His ways. So that's why I put this. So the next question is, if he is a good man, so he's a good man, right? He's acknowledging God in all His ways, and you know, he's not going out to drink occasionally, and he's coming to pick us up, right? But he has 2 kids, and his baby mama a little ratchet. so it's not that he got 2 kids, and you rarely see the baby mom. She a little ratchet. Date him or diss him.
I'm so lukewarm with this.
I'm lukewarm. Okay, so tell us your diss.
Why do I have to always go first? You know, I just feel like we pick our battles, and I believe in just peaceful relationships. And that's just something that I personally don't want to have to deal with, and thankfully I have never had to deal with that situation. But yeah, I just know I personally can't handle it. You know, like I don't have the mental capacity, the emotional capacity, the physical capacity to deal with that and what it could come with. And so God bless people who do deal with those situations with grace and love, but I know that I probably wouldn't be able to do so. So
Right.
I'm just going to go ahead and get some on that one.
Yes.
Yeah.
I was lukewarm at first because I was like, well, if he's my ideal man, he's going to know how to handle the situation, right? But then I'm like, nah, this one, because like you said, like I'm not, it takes a lot to go through those kind of situations, right? And we can't pretend that, you know, when 2 people have a child, that there's a bond there, there's a, you know, a commitment there that he's responsible for. And yeah, maybe I'm not built for it, and I don't have to feel bad that I'm not. This is the fact that I also don't have kids, so I'm also in that position to feel like I don't want to accept your situation, but I want you to accept mine. So because I don't have kids, I feel like I have a little bit more of like a leeway to be like, nah, bro, it's good.
Yes,
It's
yes,
cool.
yes.
It's cool.
So here's the thing. That's why I'm lukewarm. That's why I'm lukewarm. Because I have kids, and I'm like, accept me and my children. However, I did say the baby mom was ratchet.
Right, that's the thing.
Yeah, I didn't say your baby's mom was, or the mother of your children was like this. Woman, you both are over it. Like, you know, like, I'm over this. She's over me. We messed up. We had a past, and now we're both moving on with life. And if it was, it would be like, damn.
Mm-hmm.
Because I'm like, hey, that's what you can expect with me. You won't have no problem. Like, guaranteed. But my baby's dad was ratchet. I wouldn't be mad if y'all was like this. So it's women who are watching the show. I believe that's why it's so important. Like we say, we all make mistakes. We all do this and we all do that. However, these things stick with us. Like, you know, so it's like, you know, JoJo might seem cool, he might got guap, and he might have chains, and you're like, he's swagged out, and I'm trying to push up, and he's so ratchet, but when y'all break up, and you get your life right, and you're trying to move on with life, then you have this ratchet baby dad that says, I don't know, I'm gonna shoot everyone, then you're like, who's gonna want to date you?
Yeah.
So, I don't have that, so I'm just like, date, but, that's why I'm lukewarm. Because it's like, I have kids, so I can't expect you not to have kids.
Yeah.
However, do I want to deal with ratchet baby mom? If he had a great job. Oh, I already said that one. I'm messing up, y'all. If he was divorced twice, but it looks like he's ready to settle down with you, date him or diss him.
This one is hard because like I don't
Hard.
know anything. Like,
Yeah,
right.
Yeah. That's
We're
what
making
I'm
a
saying.
face.
Yeah.
at my age, like
Okay, so I'll go first this time. We'll go this way. So it's lukewarm because if he was divorced twice and he had biblical reason to divorce. So if he got divorced because she cheated and he had biblical grounds, I would be more ready to say yes. But if you got a divorce because you didn't like her no more, technically you're still married, and God did not see that even as a divorce because you didn't even have biblical grounds, so it will be this. So it made me lukewarm.
I said this because, yeah, just the whole biblical grounds things, and that's, you know, a debatable conversation, one, but then on the other aspect, I'm like, if you ain't get it right twice, I'm not, you know, I don't know, it just makes you question, like, where's your mindset at? Is marriage for you just because you feel like you're ready to, you know,
Right.
you get it right this time? I don't want to be another trial and error case,
Exactly.
especially because I take marriage seriously.
Mm-hmm.
That's not something that I'm trying to dive in with you if you've already proven twice that you didn't really know the ropes.
Yes.
So I don't know, so just
yeah,
another complication I don't want to deal with.
exactly. My thoughts exactly. I think it's just too much history, too much
Right.
to try to deal with, and so
Right.
I don't think I would go there at all. So
Yeah. So you guys, there we have it. Thank you again for tuning in to Women of Integrity. If you guys have more questions that we may not have answered, please feel free to reply in the comments. If it's a mass amount of questions, we will tape a part 2 of what women want men to know. However, we thank you. Please join us next week. Next week, our show will be called What Men Want Women to Know. So it'll be the same panel, same game, but it's men's perspective. So thank you guys. I love you again. I am praying for each and every one of you. Be blessed.